Score time in Neyland Stadium with Eric Woods. I'm Caleb Jarreau. We are here with the Daily Beacon after Tennessee just defeated Vanderbilt in what has turned into, I guess, a high-stakes in-state SEC rivalry. Final score, 48-24. Not much question. A little bit of punching, a little bit of fighting, but I guess that's this rivalry now. I don't know. What was your biggest takeaway, Eric?
I mean, you end the season basically how you want to. It was according to the standards they set at media days, it was a disappointing year. But I mean, you end the year with probably your best offensive game of the season. Would you say that? Joe Milton, 383 yards. 6 touchdowns. Both are career highs for him. His 6 touchdowns were the most by a Vol quarterback since Jonathan Crompton. Haven't heard that name in a while, but I mean, not much to really take away. You ended the season strong. You can't ask for much more.
Yeah, we can't really say Joe Milton did good and he'll grow for the next game, because there isn't a next game unless we're talking about the Gator Bowl or the Reliant Quest Bowl or whatever bowl we're going to end up in. And
how far can he throw a gator?
Yeah, there you go, instead of an orange. I mean, for me, really, Jalen Wright hit that 1,000-yard mark. First guy to do it in almost 8-9 years since Jalen Hurd did it in 2015. And that's a big mark, especially in Heupel's offense, because when you think back last year, besides the passing game, there was no run game, there was no defense. You were only passing the ball. So I think that 1,000-yard game is pretty, not 1,000-yard game, 1,000-yard season is pretty big for Jalen Wright. And it seemed to be echoed by everybody, especially, and he's done it in a year where the offensive line has been chock full of injuries. I mean, even tonight, Cooper Mays had to limp off with a hurt ankle, it seemed like, and then Gerald Mincey went in the game because they needed him so bad, and then was hurting so bad he had to come back out. I mean, the injuries are chock. I mean, Will Brooks was in media tonight. Will Brooks is not even a scholarship athlete at Tennessee, and he's your starting star, your nickelback right now.
Yep.
So the injuries and everything, they limped to the finish line, but they sure got across it. Like you said, Joe Milton, his best game of his career, 22 of 32, 383 with 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, like 11 or 12 yards. Apparently we're still playing football out here, God, who knows. But then Nico came in. We got some Nico action.
We did.
9 of 12, 66 yards. He didn't get a touchdown because Gaston Moore came in and ended the drive. But
yeah.
Besides that, I mean, Eric, what would be – I mean, they murdered A.J. Swan a couple of times, but we can talk about some defense. What do you think about the defense tonight?
I mean, the defense looked good. Outside of that first drive, I mean, 7 points or 7-7, and then you allow a field goal. After the fight, you didn't allow a point until basically the bench
time.
Yeah, and that doesn't really mean much. But I mean, considering everything that's happened to the secondary this year, injuries. What's his face? Brady Cook. I couldn't remember his name. It was a good game.
Tennessee,
I mean,
their defense remembers his name.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, your biggest thing tonight was you're hoping to see Nico a lot earlier than you did. I feel like he came in the fourth quarter. We could have seen him a little bit earlier. I mean, at one point,
it's the story of the season at this point, though.
The game was what, 35-10 and then 41-10, I believe, before Vanderbilt got some garbage time touchdowns. So you want to see Nico a little earlier. I'm sure we'll see a big dose of him in the bowl game, just because it's his team next year. And Joe talked about passing it on to Nico after tonight. A lot of emotions with senior night. You have some guys who could come back, too, that we're not sure yet, but we talked to guys like Jacob Warren, McAllen Castles, which that tight end room had the most touchdowns since, well, I mean.
Are you talking about total on the year?
Yeah.
Most since 2007.
Yeah.
2007, it is.
In 2007, they had 9. This year, they had 8. So with the bowl game, it could improve.
Yeah.
And then you look at Josh Heupel, and this is the first time Tennessee's had the amount of wins they've had in 3 years since in 2 years since Philip Fulmer. So you complain all you want about 8-4, and yes, I mean, we both predicted them to go a lot better than 8-4. So say what you want about 8-4, but in the end, this program is in a very good spot right now.
I mean, you have to think it's year 3. Hendon Hooker masked a lot of issues for this team, and I mean, you have to think, was it 65 scholarship players Josh Heupel had when he took over, and now you're finally getting up to that point. You're still struggling with depth, but you still have quite a bit of it. And I mean, no team's gonna have depth when you have. I mean, how many people were there were double-digit injured players today.
Yeah,
so.
And you see that depth you're talking about. We talked about it a little bit pregame. When somebody got hurt last year, you still had some older guys you can tap into. when somebody got hurt this year, you were going to true freshmen.
It was the older guys that were getting hurt.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it was their main
'Cause
contributors,
you
too.
missed those two recruiting classes, the one that Pruitt had that last year, that a lot of those guys that never made it to campus, and then those guys that transferred out. So that sophomore, junior class is thin. That's why you've got so many redshirt sophomore wide receivers that are playing now.
Yeah.
Or redshirt freshmen, excuse me. They're second-year guys, but those guys don't have experience. They haven't been in this program long. Like, you look at Caleb Webb, who kind of shined tonight. They haven't been here a while. So you've got some of that, and that depth will improve moving forward. But overall, and Josh Heupel kind of said tonight, from where they started to where they are now, this program is in a pretty good spot. And besides the 4-hour fist fight that we saw tonight, I'd say when you take everything into consideration, the program is in a good spot from when he started.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a disappointment. I mean, there was a time where 8-4 was a dream for this program, and you can see them on the rise. I mean, I did some digging earlier. They've in each year under Josh Heupel, they've gone 500 in SEC play for 3 straight years. That was the first time since 2004 where they had 3 straight 500 seasons in SEC play, which that was a span of 16 years starting in 1989. So, I mean, you can see improvement. Obviously we expected a little more, but I wouldn't see it as a disappointment by any means.
Yep. So I guess we'll get out of here. Last one in Neyland Stadium, probably our worst one we've done so far. But for anybody who had to sit through this game, they might also say that it was the worst football game. The longest football game.
It was very long.
Felt forever.
CBS game lasted longer, so.
And we're throwing punches. So we're here. We're fighting. All right. So final one until we get to Florida, I guess, for Eric Woods. I'm Caleb Jarreau. It's another production of the Daily Beacon Sports Podcast Network.